Just wanted to point out the information we provide today is of a general advice. If you do want some more information, please seek some professional advice.
Welcome to the latest edition of the Retirement Living Your Way podcast, where we have real conversations with Troy Theobald and the team from RFS Advice. My name's Greg Black, and it's an exciting part 2 of retirement that we're here today. So I've got in the studio Troy Theobald. Welcome.
Thank you, Greg.
Fantastic. And for those of you that have listened to part 1, we have Paul Forbes. Welcome back, Paul.
Thanks, Greg.
He was looking very nervous, and as I said that...
I was about to hit the old CEO again.
No, I wasn't going to say that. I was going to
but you brought it up, so there we go.
Actually, I would have said the previous. But no, look, it is fantastic that you could join us again today for continuing the conversation. And I think the last time we spoke, you looked at... you spoke raised some really good points about getting yourself ready for retirement. And, we're just talking off air. I think your retirement leading in, and I was fortunate to, we've known each other for a long time and watched that transition where you sort of stepped out of RFS, I stepped in. To me, it's been a textbook from your point of view because I've just watched it. It's just been effortless. And I think that's been fortunate on my part because you've been able to have input into the business and so forth. So that may have made that transition a little bit smoother.
Yeah.
But what I want to talk about today is how it's gone for you and what are some of the things that you've learnt, how you're filling your days, what are you up to, and really what insights can you give those people that they may have already retired and they're finding that it actually isn't as good as they thought it was going to be, or it's different. Because I think a lot of people, they have this event and their world's going to be very, very different, and they go to it and all of a sudden, this isn't what I thought it was going to be. So I'd love to get your thoughts on that. And then also things that you maybe wished you'd done a little bit differently, if there are any.
Yeah. Okay.
Anyway, and Troy will jump in with lots and lots of different questions.
I'm in good passenger today. It's fantastic. I'm really enjoying this.
So look, I think the first question I'd like to ask is, what surprised you about retirement?
I think there was a couple of things early on. So to be perfectly honest, the retirement happened, and why it might have been a little bit effortless was I ran straight into all those health issues with my parents. And I'm sure that's not unusual for a lot of the listeners as well. A friend of ours wrote a book on this talking about the sandwich generation. So yes, you're dealing with your own kids, but suddenly you're dealing with elderly parents.
Yes.
And that is hard.
Yes.
This transition, parents dying and also moving into aged care facilities and all those sort of things. And suddenly that took quite a bit of time and still does. But I think probably the most pleasant thing I think about retirement was being able to do things on a whim. Okay. And the example I always use is that you can wake up on a beautiful morning like this morning and go, why don't we go and find a really nice spot somewhere to have lunch and just have a bottle of wine and this sort of.
We might stop this recording now. This is sounding too good.
We fitted a coffee and a walk to get some steps in, race down the studio after our last meeting.
Same.
Yeah. I might survive this episode.
But also that doesn't have to be like costing you a fortune. You can go up to Charis Seafoods and get some fresh prawns and take a bottle of wine and sit outside and just look at the Broadwater, which is a beautiful spot. So I think usually when people are organising events, it's like, we're going to do this in 3 weeks' time, and the day it turns up, of course, the weather's pretty ordinary and this sort of stuff, whereas you wake up, it's a nice morning, it's going to be a nice day, let's go and do this today. That was probably one of the nicest. The other really surprising thing for me was how busy it has been.
Right.
And it's just honestly, just even organising things like holidays or that sort of stuff, it takes a lot of time.
Yes.
Like I think you'd asked me about what we're doing later in the year. Well, we're going to be away for 7 weeks. We're doing a whole range of things, and I've been to Europe a couple of times in the last 5 or 6 years, and we sort of said, okay, let's go to Europe again, but let's make this the last trip for a number of years. I'd love to do more in the US and other bits and pieces. And so, we're doing Egypt and we're doing Bulgaria, we're doing Croatia, most of that sort of east, not too far east, but Eastern Europe this time round. But organising all of those bits and pieces, everything you're going to do, and that takes a lot of time. But it just seems genuinely, it gets to like 4 o'clock in the day every day, and before you go, rightio, okay, how about we sit down, have a cup of tea?
Yeah, wow.
Yeah.
I'm only laughing there going, when you say that aloud, going, it probably always took that much planning for a holiday, but my wife plans mine too. I can see you just a little bit, hey, I have no idea. I turn up to Disneyland and go, wow, look at, we're staying here. It's like a whole adventure. It's a new experience.
Yes. I think we're all guilty of that.
Yeah.
Just turn up in the airport. Where are we going?
Yeah.
And when?
That's right.
No, I think that's right, yeah.
But just on that, obviously, if you're planning the trip, and obviously, you know, when we're looking at retirement, we've got a sum of money, which ultimately is going to help, you know, fund our retirement. How do you sort of juggle the allocation of capital on things like that? And is that that's in the mind all the time? And just even spending patterns. And I know we spoke off here about like...
Now you're in my territory. Back off. This is mine. I want to know the accumulation versus semi-de-accumulation. I've sat here,
okay, go for it.
Because that's what because you have the mindset, and Paul's always been that and very big on talking about this of that period. You're always... People are trying to get ahead, and you're trying to go, wow, and you're celebrating, and there's this milestone, and it got to this, and the balance got to that.
Yep.
Now I've got to flick a switch, and I've got to spend it.
That's right.
Totally... Yeah, total 180.
Yeah, well, to some extent, Nina is far more comfortable with the spending side than I am.
Oh yeah, I'd agree with that.
And I didn't get there in our last session, but yes, there was a comment which we did make when Nina came in for a meeting, and Troy said, "Okay, this is basically a budget for the year." Well, she took that as a personal goal.
That's a challenge.
Yeah, that's a challenge.
Wow.
You should at least spend that. Really? I went, yeah, challenge. Said, that's on you. Go for it. Fill your boots.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. I think actually it is a really big one, and funnily enough, I've spoken because I've got a number of friends who are going through retirement at the same time. I've actually spoken to one couple where the wife cannot. Just the thought of balances going negative or anything else like that, and we talk about people falling in love with progression.
Yeah,
and we are guilty of that. Like whether it's health, whether it's all these things, we go, oh yeah, and we're sort of predisposed to watching progress. And the thought of then spending versus actually saving is actually it's a proper step mentally. And I think that's why, to your point, I think exactly that. You need to say, rightio, this is our budget. This is what we're going to work within. And, you know, when you work with an advisor, you actually say, rightio, is that feasible?
Yes.
Can I live within that framework? And, yeah, look, it's pretty generous how we sort ourselves out. But it still comes down to you still have a budget.
Yes.
Let's not burn through all this. You know, you've taken your whole life to save this money.
Yes.
Therefore, let's use it efficiently. Let's get the maximum bang for buck.
Yep.
So if we're going to do something, let's go and
make
do
it
this well.
Yes.
So I'd rather spend 3 weeks and then really and enjoy it more than 5 weeks in pretty ordinary accommodation and stuff.
But you can imagine, like, you know, you just mentioned before, having an advisor, you really do need someone to sort of take the emotion out of it. Otherwise, you know, in my case, it'd be Sam and I sort of trying to discuss on what's what, as opposed to having a third party in the room saying, okay, well, this is how it all works, and this is the impact of it.
That's the maths. That's the number.
Yeah, I'm just thinking emotion and Troy, like, you know, that's, you know.
Yeah, and look, I'm put my hand up. So I've been in financial services for a long time, but I didn't get involved in an advice business until 2011.
Yes.
But I had an advisor.
I was going to say,
my late 30s, I had an advisor.
Yes.
And I had him right the way through.
Yes.
So, you know, it was only probably when we moved that we bought into this business that then Troy started looking after our stuff as well. But I am simply being aware of where you are in a given moment of time is really important.
Yes.
If you don't, there's that line about, you know, if you don't have a goal, you might as well just paint a bullseye on a tree after you fired the arrow.
Yes.
Exactly that. So if you go, no, this is where I want to get to, and you can see that progress to it, then that makes the whole household better.
Yep.
I mentioned last time about bringing your partner along for that ride. So they know where it is, and that's what we're trying to get to, and this is the reasonable amount. And yes, when we get there, then we make a decision on whether we want to retire or not, or whether that's the time in our life we want to do that.
Yes.
So I think that's of course I'm a big fan of advice.
Oh, absolutely. Well, you've seen you've seen the benefit of it. I think that's not only personally but also with clients. You've seen the impact it's made.
I think that spouse one's huge because we're with Brooke. She's really championing that ladies and giving them that empowerment program, because we're seeing more and more ladies, because us blokes, we run out of puff because we don't do checkups, all the things we should do, and ladies do, but they're getting left with large sums with big decisions and feeling that burden and don't have the partner to lean on, and we're finding that we're getting a lot of people reach out in that scenario from all over the place now. So it's something you'd love to go back with them 5 or 10 years and go, all right, you can sit in the meeting, you can picture some of your friends that come in, you can picture some of the wives that probably aren't as interested, but I always want them there in the meeting.
Yeah.
And I'm always going to have the discussion with them so they know. Now, they're not as excited about the ICR and the upside-downside capture and it can be opposite. We've got another couple that, the wife's really interested and he's not that interested. Now, I'm not going to get into all that with them, but they still need to know the theory of managing money. To your point, how much we can spend. We've got these buffers. We're going to have negative years. They've at least got to have that so it's not foreign, because when people come in the door and they've had a super they haven't been involved in, and the first downturn, oh my God, it's gone backwards. You know what? It's done this for the last 40 years of your working life, probably every 3 to 5 years, reasonable amount. Really?
Yeah.
They just never looked. And now all of a sudden, that's why I'm curious on that mindset, because you're aware because you've been aware, but so much of the Australian population have just blinkers on, worked hard. Yeah, it's growing, it's doing its thing, and then all of a sudden, that oh my God moment, I have to make it last the rest of my life. And that's they don't have decades of learning. They're trying to cram that in a short period, and you probably felt that because you've got a cohort that probably didn't know as much about advice, because I know I'm meeting them. I didn't know you did all this. It's not just about the numbers.
Yes.
It's walking them through that whole process as well. Yeah, I think, look, the other probably example, I think this is the other, I know it's an advice business, but it's worthwhile talking about it. I've definitely seen this with other friends, and one of them, he's a really bright guy. He's an actuary, fellow actuary, and when he retired, he went and started playing options and futures and all this sort of stuff. Burned himself pretty badly. And ended up going, rightio, well, I've got this much money. Really, as long as I just keep this in TDs and this sort of stuff. So he became incredibly risk averse. And I can see how that could happen.
Yes.
Because you are worried about this markets go up and down. I saw banks have copped a bit of a hiding recently, not surprisingly. But you could get concerned about balances if you keep staring at balances. I think you mentioned last time there was a client who stares at balances all the time. So basically they always see the top and go, the top here, and they drop down. They get scared about that, forgetting where they actually started. So but having an advisor, you got that structure, and I do love that. Having a couple of years of cash flow always readily available to you, you really can sort of, if my partner Nina ever gets concerned about it, so we already have this set aside. Okay, we have our income needs, always like 2.5 years worth of income needs. The markets will do what they do. It shouldn't ever stop us going through with the plan we've already got, because we've already funded it. So that, I think that security with it, that's an important part of that, and making sure you don't overreact. I knew from my time in RFS we had clients who would just go to cash, because the markets dropped. Now sometimes it was the right idea, but then they wouldn't get back in, and then they'd miss the bounce and all those things. If you're running some sort of diversified portfolio, you're going to get it, but it's not going to be as bad. Growth assets always do correct at some stage, but also historically they've always grown. So having an advisor stopping you making silly decisions.
And speaking of an advisor, I know Troy's going to want to have a comment on clients coming in that are wanting to change risk profiles or getting conservative by nature. That's something that you would be dealing with day in, day out.
And you've seen people have had that history. And we caught up with ones on in the last few weeks there, just exactly around that, who that's their previous thing. They'd panicked and moved to cash. When you ask them what's their history been, we've always done that. And exactly to Paul's point. And mine's, so when did you reverse it? What do you mean? I was clever. I sold to cash. But when did we reverse it? Wait until it went back up and things were really stable. And I go, if I just drew a little line in the sand, you actually probably cost yourself a lot of money every time you did that, not to mention the stress and...
Not to mention the new capital gains tax, but anyway, we'll move on.
We don't have time for that today, Paul.
We're staying well away from those topics.
Thank you for raising that.
All right.
That's...
But certainly that, because they can get caught in, and then they do get caught in that spiral, and people would come to you because when you're in retirement, they go, okay, you're in finance, you're in that. They're going to ask those sort of questions of you. Mm-hmm. And you can just see how some of them get in their own head because, and it's like news. Well, I've got lots of time to look for news or read news. Now, when I was so busy all day, like I've got to go looking for news at the end and click on X. My wife, what happened in the world today? Or actually, what happened in the last 4 days? Because I've been running flat out. Yeah. You have clients come in, they have read every bad thing in the world in the past week. I'm like, okay, we need to step back from the edge here, people.
There's a big belief always in Armageddon, and we've seen that even with really well-educated. One of the accountants we used to work with was exactly that. Yeah, he was always telling me he was waiting for the next disaster. Yeah, and you sort of go, well, yes, but if we keep waiting for the disaster, we're going to miss out on the fluctuation. But I won't. I'll let Troy do his piece on this. But I would to your point. Yeah. Having a non-emotional, a person in that financial decision who's not emotionally involved in the is basically saying, let's just keep you sticking to the outcome. Yes, it's a good idea. It's it can save you a lot of really bad ideas. Yes, so I'll go with that. Yeah.
So then the other big topic's close to home for me, golf. Yeah. So people come into me and they're going, oh, gee, retired. Wouldn't you love to retire and play a heap of golf? No, I think my golf would get worse. How's yours gone since retirement?
Well, yeah, it did get worse. All right. So, yes. However, that's because I have way too many swing thoughts. Yeah. And I keep watching way too many YouTube videos. But that's golf's always been part of our. I played it badly for years, so there's nothing new there. Yeah. But I'm certainly enjoying more now, having a very regular golf. I think one of the things you asked me about was keep social groups and stuff like that.
Yeah, I was going to ask you that. Yep.
For guys, it's a good thing.
Yes.
Okay, so I turn up. The 3 guys I play with, I didn't know 12 months ago. Okay, but one of them, Andrew's great. He organises our group every week. Okay, they play Wednesday and Saturday, but I just play the Wednesday. But it's like it just turns up. He loves I'm assuming he loves organising it, but he just does it. Mm-hmm. They're good guys. We have a game of golf. Yep. They get upset with their golf just as much as I do, and they're better golfers. Mm-hmm. And then you sit around afterwards and have a few laughs in the clubhouse. And then,
but golf alone isn't enough to be your retirement plan, is it?
No, it's actually just it's weirdly and it's a nice thing to build a week around. Yeah. Okay, so to sort of go, Wednesday is this. Yes. Okay, and with Nina, because Nina is also a golfer, likes golfing. Yes. We might say, let's pop out here on a Sunday afternoon, just play 9 holes and something like that. If we've got nothing on, so suddenly, if we're one of those couples who doesn't really like having nothing on. Yeah. So it'll just go well, let's go and find something to do.
Because I was going to ask. Obviously, working life, everything's set. You know what you're doing. Retirement, how structured are you in your days, in your weeks, and your months?
Yeah, pretty. So we actually have wall planners still.
Yep. No, this is good.
I've experienced. I tried to play golf for them. It hasn't happened.
Well, I tried to book this in, and it was easier said than done. So I want to. This social calendar's massive.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah. So you got wall planners.
Yeah. So our wall planners, we send each other diary invites to make sure we don't confuse things, so that way they turn up on phones. We actually have a family system called COZI, which COZI, I think it's a little app we can use where that tells everyone where who's seeing mum today and Nina's mum, so we can actually make sure we're not all of us seeing her one day or tripping over. Yeah. Yes. So there's. So our week is, when we're at home, our week is pretty well structured, but it's not rushed, and that's the beauty of retirement. Properly. I still wake up between 6 and 6:30 every morning. It's just habit, right? So, now I'll go down, make a coffee, bring it back up, and you sit there, read the paper. You have a more relaxed start to the day. Yes. I mentioned health. I think. Yep. We're pretty big on still going to the gym and working on strength training. Yes. Yeah, I don't do the silly stuff I did when I was in my 30s, but we use I think you might have mentioned one of the other ones we go to a gym called Keizer, which is more focused on. That's great. Just on strength training, and it's basically my age group.
Well, I think I was going to say you bring the age down a little bit.
Yeah, that's right.
But it is fantastic to have a purpose gym that does that
and there's so many good papers talking about the value of strength. In the back end of your life, so it's good to do that sort of stuff. So we'll do that. We've got a dog still, so we would go coffee, paper, gym, dog. It's 3 times a week for the gym. You come back, and usually by then there's something else which you've already got planned for the day. So it's already 9:30 by then, and then you're kicking into the day probably. But it's nice to have that every morning. That's how the morning's going to run. One other recommendation I would say to people as you're coming into retirement is don't get a new dog or a new animal.
Sounds like Troy. Oh, wow.
I really do. I mean, our dog's 12 and a half now. He's a lovely dog, and he's part of the family, but they do play a role in every decision you make, whether it's just going away for a weekend.
I'm going to see Nettie next week.
Just on that, then what other things would you, and Troy, you jump in here as well, what other things would you say, look, just don't do it?
That comment, and Paul's bringing it because it's specific. I had a client sat down, we talked about, they're really clear where they want to go, structured, retired, had everything, had the van. I've turned up, come back to the office, I'm blowing up. And Paul's like, what? I went, we've gone through all of this, we've got everything, we're ready to go. Friggin' puppy. That just makes life so much more complex when you're about to head on. I know people will go on there and there'll be a comment, I'm not anti-dogs, I'm just saying if you've waited your whole life, they could have waited 6 months and got the dog, gone on the trip. Because there's so many trips that they went on and since then have gone, it's really hard and he's really big and I'm going to see him next week and he doesn't like to travel now. It's like,
wow.
It just does inhibit things a bit. And umpteen people I see go through it, and you've heard me try to tell people that one, but yeah.
Well, the couple other ones, it's probably a good idea not to do, is I've seen people where they've retired and they've built their dream home, or they've got their dream home, they've poured money into it, okay, and sometimes it's like 5 years in and they go, you know what, this is actually not where we want to be, or something else, and so they've overcapitalised and other bits and pieces. It's hard to overcapitalise at the moment, but still.
Yes.
So I wouldn't necessarily, just don't believe the home you move into when you're 65 or whatever is going to be the last place you move in, because there's a good chance you might downsize or change again or something else like that. And the other one is holiday homes. Because we're all guilty of it. We go. Oh,
you get it.
I love Stradbroke Island. Every time I go to Stradbroke Island, I go, I really should buy a place over here. And then,
well, I love Stradbroke as well, and I think you could and you should. Because Troy and I will come and visit. So
I've got my own personal Bear Grylls. If you need to go camping, just take Greg. It's not even like camping. It's glamping at the next level.
Okay, cool. All right. But there's. That then locks you into that's where the holiday's going to be. Or you feel guilty if you don't go and all those sort of things. Versus, there's a lot of places in the world. And there's a lot of beautiful places in the world where, you really...
why lock yourself into
why say I'm just going to go there? Yeah. Same with skiing. I love skiing, but I've gone to so many different mountains now, and every one of them's, great in their own way.
The next question, it's an interesting one. I was going to mention it earlier, ask the question earlier, and... It's all around, couples. They've both worked. They're very hard. They've had their own. They've had obviously the family time, but then there's the work time. When people stop, is there the ability to either spend too much time with each other? And I know it's an awkward one because I know great relationships and all that, but
Nina, stop listening now.
Because I'm just thinking I love Sam to bits, but if Sam and I spent all day together and everything was us. She would hate that. I probably would enjoy it, but Sam would probably. So how do you is that something that you've seen either in others or? Oh no, and look, I think even actually Nana and I even talked about this the other day, making sure we've got our own time. Yes.
Okay, so Nina took up coloured sketching and this sort of stuff, and she's pretty handy anyway, artistically. So that's her downtime, and I just get out of the way when she's doing that, and then I'll go to the driving range and hit balls or I might go up and just.
So you're not living in each other's pockets, because I think that
trying not to. No. Try and give each other some good space every day. We've got a big enough house where we can have different living areas and stuff like that. As in we can get away from each other.
I get kicked out of.
What about the concept? And I know my opinion. Let's go back to one car.
No.
Good, thank you. Great answer. Love it.
Yeah. No, my sister actually and her husband have done that, and they will definitely be buying another car again. Yes. I think there's a sensible element to having a small car to use around town and something which you're going to use more for highway and travel. But, yeah, I mean, I look at electric cars now and go, I mean, there's something quite efficient about having an electric car.
Yes.
But just for using around town. Yeah. That's a personal view. Obviously, other people have different
views. Fuel does your car you just bought hold there? Mr.
120 litres.
Yep, just checking anyway.
Yeah, that's right.
All right.
Okay, but that's the
5 minute
highway
fireside.
That's the highway
But
car.
it's that loss of independence is probably the key on that, because I see people come in and they try to rationalise it and all these financial things and exactly that. Oh, she likes painting, I like doing this. And you're like, you're just stuck in each other's pockets.
Yes.
Yeah. And you never have been. It's,
No, you've got to be able. There's lots of. You don't want to get caught. I can't get to there because of this. I know we have Uber and there's all sorts of places, but it is simply. You don't need to spend a fortune on the second car.
No,
the second car can just be the one you can
run around
and use and take to shopping centres because someone's going to open a door on it.
Yes. Another question, and Troy will probably. I'd say probably Troy will jump in on this one as well. Yeah. And it's not related directly to the retirement, but it is something that I think a lot of retirees eventually have to, deal with, and that's, I guess, helping kids.
Yes. Yeah.
And obviously, you've worked very hard. You're in a financial position, and then obviously, if you want to give your kids a bit of a leg up. Or you don't. What are your thoughts on that?
That's a very number one question comes in our door now.
Yeah, I just think. I mean,
how much? I haven't. Yeah,
how much and when?
There's a whole triangle of dispute thing. Where you talk about the saviour and the victim and the protagonist. I don't know if you ever heard that argument, but it talks about if you're the saviour, you might step in to help the victim. Okay, but the victim might end up resenting you eventually because you're always the saviour. And I'm a big believer that we want to give our kids that chance to strive and to do things for themselves and have that satisfaction when you save your deposit, buy your first house, get your car, that sort of stuff. Yes, we could jump in and save them or help them. But I'd sort of like to see them get through it by themselves. I always talked about my parents were my safety net. I was lucky. I didn't have to ask them for anything other than I got a good education, all that sort of stuff. But I always knew that if something really went wrong, I had them as my safety net. And I'm trying to probably have that as the education for my kids. But if something goes wrong, but obviously. They're all bright kids.
Absolutely,
We Nina and I both started, pretty much back to zero, second marriage, and built a very tidy investment for ourselves, a nice retirement, and and we have a satisfaction out of doing that.
Yes,
and I think there's a nice thing for them to do. Look. There's another book called Die With Zero. I don't know if you've ever talked to anyone about that one. But he talks about the fact, before you die, it's probably smarter to give some money to your children. They shouldn't be looking forward to your death.
That's right.
Which is an interesting way of looking at it. And I've got no problem with that. No. But I wouldn't be... I'm not a big believer in saying, here, go and help buy their first house, because they won't... It's... Okay, here's a gift, but they haven't done anything to it.
I love to me the safety net piece. I think that's and the reason I wanted to get your thoughts on it is because we do see and we do get a lot of clients. That just seems to be a common thing these days, which is a reflection on where.
Well, it's a reflection on the economy too. I mean, we all look at it, but frankly, my kids have all had to tighten their belts a bit.
So just look, I'm just conscious of time. What advice would you give someone who's just gone into retirement to get the most out of it? Because you guys, you're in a happy space, right? You can just see that, which is fantastic. And I think that's just not by chance. You've been very deliberate with your approach. So, if someone's listening now and they're about to, to retire, what would be the one bit of advice?
And just bear in mind, in a few months' time, we might, get Nina in and you sitting home.
Actually, that was, we just got to fit it into their diaries. That's definitely happening. But it'll be, how's Paul's spending habit going?
That's right. Look, I think for me it's a reasonably simple thing as far as know what you're getting into, retire to something.
Yes.
So know that within a month after your retirement, this is what's going to happen. Get out there and actually do that. So you're already planning well post your retirement, and then keep planning. So you've always got something in front of you you're looking to.
Yes.
I mean, if you want to learn something, it's not going to happen by accident.
Mm-hmm.
So if you said, yes, I want to pick up this skill, I want a language, I want to do that, start your planning for it. How am I going to do this? By when? You know. So as soon as you start putting timelines and everything around what your thoughts are going to be, okay, I want to go to South Africa before July of 2028.
Yes.
Okay, so
make that happen.
That can't happen. It won't happen unless I actually organise it.
Yep.
So have that in there.
Yes.
There's a few things. Antarctica, yes, I don't need to do that yet, but I want to do it by here.
Yes.
All of those things. That immediately starts your brain working towards all these. You've got all these milestones you want to hit.
Yes.
And then it's just really the two of you getting in line to say that, and then there's all the ancillary bits that go. Yeah, we'll disappear for a weekend. We'll just have a lunch here and there. You know, there's all those. You can enjoy your retirement without spending a fortune. There's lots of really good. The Gold Coast is a wonderful place. You can go and walk on the Broadwater.
Yeah. We're going to every morning. It's a beautiful morning. I'm going to go and we're going to drive past Sharris to see whether he's having his prawns and that. We might have lunch.
But I think that's probably it's not. I've retired, now what?
Yes.
That's the biggest thing. It's I'm retiring.
Yes.
So what?
Yeah.
So what's that going to be? If that's a reasonable.
No, absolutely. And look, and you know, you built a very successful business in RFS Advice with Troy. That's no one can dispute that, which has been absolutely phenomenal. So it doesn't surprise me that you've approached retirement with the same vigour and the same passion, and obviously getting the same sorts of dividends, just a different way.
Yeah,
which is fantastic. So look, I think that's all we've got really time for today. And look, I will mention that
Oliver's looking at your overtime board.
No, that's okay. That's okay. He'll be fine, because this is obviously part of the retirement toolkit that we produced at RFS. That is on our website, so rfsadvice.com. I got that one right, Troy. And we're just in the process of updating that and just bringing it up with some new figures and so forth. So again, I think a lot of what we've discussed today is actually, it's not financial. The financial aspect's there and it's real, but it's the auxiliary bits. It's about life, and it's about getting the most out of it, and social outings and then networks and the like. So for those who are interested, please check that out. But look, Paul, thank you very much for coming. It's been an absolute pleasure. Great excuse to get him in to have a chat. I thought, Troy. We play golf every now and then, but it's good to actually have a chat to see you doing so well.
Yeah, thank you.
Fantastic. Okay, until next time. Take care. Thank you.
Thanks.